Hey guys, welcome to a behind the scenes different kind of video where I'm going to sit down with Pete, Gaax and Nightshare and we're going to talk about the finals, which I'm sure everyone has seen. A lot of people were disappointed, both fans and players I'm sure as well, but I feel like as viewers we only really get an outside perspective, so getting an inside perspective to kind of give us more context as to what happened would be important. We can get into the nitty gritty of details later on, but let's just start with an overall perspective. From your perspective, Nightshare, what was that day like? Let's start with before the finals, leading up to it. Were you confident? Like, were the draft prep good? Was the vibes good? Was anything off on the day you felt like before the games, or was everything going in the right direction?
I think the day started very good, honestly. I feel like everyone was very confident. I haven't seen so much confidence around us facing G2 in a long time. You could really tell, like everyone feels like we are the better team and we're no longer the underdogs, kind of. And we just have to play our game and then take the title. So the prep, everything, like I honestly believed. I also like woke up, and I was just telling to myself, okay, this is the day we do it.
Was there, Gaax, was there any like things in scrims happening with a similar sort of issue where you kind of were worried, we're not closing out games perfectly, this could be something that comes back to bite us?
Not really. I mean, we didn't close the games out perfectly overall as a team, I think, but we were like watching the BDS G2 series before, and we were like, oh my god, both teams are playing like really bad. There's no way we can lose, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess there was a way.
So in the moment, like you lose game 1, game 2, we can talk about draft a little bit. I personally don't think draft was a big problem. I don't think draft was a huge sentiment. It was mainly just like closing these games out. And in hindsight, all of them just kind of fell under the same umbrella of you can't end. Were the frustrations just building up after each game? Was after game 1, we like, oh, we should have won that. Game 2, it doubles. We should have won that as well. And what's the kind of feedback you're giving there? Is it just, how can we end easier after game 1? How can we end easier after game 2? Or are you just trying to like manage emotions?
After the game 1, we kind of knew that we should be winning the game, but it was, close, and it's first game, and the first game always can swings both ways. We kind of pivoted only by like banning Sejuani, so we get a yike off Sejuani. You could tell even by one game, even by watching the G2 BDS series, like we know we are a better early game team if we have the picks for it. We know that we are by far superior in the mid game. Because of that, we kind of, just said, look guys, like we lost first game. It is what it is. We pivot a bit in the draft, so it's a bit easier for us. And we go again, like just play your game, don't get affected at all. I usually like to say it's not like a sprint, it's kind of like a marathon, the BO5s. So like one game really doesn't matter. 2 games also doesn't matter. It's like only when you lose 3, right? Then you're out.
Yeah, and I mean, third game, you guys lose. I can't even like begin to imagine what it's like behind the scenes. Obviously, fans are frustrated. Things should have happened that way. A lot of the players visually just looked broken. How do you manage that? Did you guys just kind of give it time and have a talk, or did you all just get together backstage and kind of let out frustrations?
I mean, we usually have like debriefs in the office after we finish everything, like interviews and stuff at the studio. There we kind of needed to talk after, like outside, because yeah, I mean, people were kind of shocked, I guess, because the way we lost 3 games were really criminal in my opinion. And yeah, we just let them know that even if these finals were not ours, we can still win in season finals. We know that if we are playing like this on stage in finals, there's no team that can beat us if we actually manage to close out the game. So that's what we are now working on in these weeks coming into season finals. And yeah, just making sure that the players are being heard and they have the support that they need to overcome these issues.
Obviously, hindsight is like a beautiful thing. What would be like the one thing you go back and say, damn, if we changed that, things could have looked a lot different?
Well, that's a very tough question to answer, right? Because losing and being kind of defeated exposes the weaknesses you have, right? And until we actually lost the way we lost, we didn't fully understand how big of an issue it is for us as a team, how we play and understand late game, because we were practicing everything up until that point, kind of, because usually, sadly, in scrims, outside of G2, I have to give them the credit for that and respect. Outside of G2 in scrims, every team just goes mental boom and they just tilt fight. And the game is over in 25 minutes, right? And then the only team, and this is the pure straight up fact why G2 beat us that day, is I call them cockroaches. G2 are cockroaches. It's legit unreal how hard it is against them to close out the game, because every other team would mentally crumble at that point. But no, they rarely tilt, and they just, they just find their bush warriors. They're like cheesing, doing whole creative, like super creative plays, and you have to be on your toes and really sweat for the game to even win a scrim, right? I honestly like, even hindsight, even now looking back at it, I wouldn't change much. It's just this straight up fact of us not getting to practice late game, not putting emphasis on it. That's the only thing I would change, and we, as Pablo mentioned, we are now working on it, so let's see.
I mean, we'll see this in Legends in Action, but we have a new staff member behind the scenes working with you, Gaax, and Nightshare. His name is Jonathan. He's a performance coach. Can you he couldn't be with us today, but can you kind of introduce him to everyone and tell us a little bit about what he's been working on with the team behind the scenes?
I mean, he has been mainly helping us on like set up goals for the players, right? And especially this is a team that is very emotional, right? And they need support outside of the game more than inside of the game, I feel like. And yeah, basically he has been helping us set up goals for the players. He's a chiropractor, so he's also like giving massages to players. He's introducing breathing and meditation in the team. So it's like, these small factors that some people might think that are not important for this team especially is really huge. So we are trying like different stuff over these weeks to make sure that we can find something for players that they like and that they get help to reset mentally in the BO5s.
Has he had enough time to have a major impact on the mental of the players and their resilience?
I think he started like, is it week before the playoffs, I guess?
Oh, playoffs?
No, not just the playoffs. It's really, really late, but I think he was mainly just coming in on a team that's very at the limit, kind of like a burnout limit, because you go back to back to back, don't have really a break, you're just competing. And it was just me and Pablo kind of on site running the show, and we were kind of getting overwhelmed also. So I think he came in at the crucial timing of like we really need help just for like the social and emotional support of the players, which, as Pablo was mentioning, is very important for this roster because we are quite the emotional team.
So you've got a performance coach to come in with the help with the emotional side, help with the breathing, help with the emotional prep up to these kind of finals. Is there anything else you kind of identified or have tried to apply to help the team in general, whether it's gameplay wise or out of game wise or habits?
I think we are trying to find out still what each player needs, because everyone is different, right? And some people need to just like walk or just let it out and speak to someone, or just get a ice bath, for example, in their face, this kind of stuff, right? And we are still trying to figure out what is better for each of them. In game related, it's just closing out games. Like we are being really, really, really tough on them with these kind of things. Even if it's the first game of scrims and we see something that we don't like, we will yell at them, or at least that's what we did yesterday. But we really need to make sure that they have this in their minds, because if we are 7k gold ahead, there is no way we can lose a game. It's just not allowed.
Yeah. So how are the vibes now? It's been like over a week, I think, right? Is everyone like scratched out of their head? Obviously, it's something that can be, really detrimental to your mental health when it happens in the moment, and the day after you'll probably have a lot of regrets. But it's been a while. You've had scrims. Has everyone kind of moved on now? Is the goal just season finals?
I think everyone bounced back. I was actually surprised. I thought it will take some of our individuals longer to bounce back fully. But I think, like the way we handled the talk after losing, the way we handled the talk before going into the practice again, I think we gave them a lot of like direction and kind of closed out the trauma that we had from losing against G2, right? And we just need to go again.
How's prep going before match against BDS on Saturday? Can you kind of leak scrims a bit? Like you leaked all our results last split, Gaax?
I mean, we will not leak it yet. It's just when we just lift the trophy, right? But I think overall we've been going up. It's not like we started pretty well or anything, but slowly we get to snowball leads, snowball mid game, and then we are just making again a lot of emphasis in how we are closing out games, right? Like in my opinion, it's really easy, but we are a team that likes to fight for no reason. So we are just making sure that the team is disciplined enough to say, hey, here, just take towers, camps, sideways, and base, and then we can get a better fight at Nightshare or Drake, right? It's really easy, but we don't do it. So
Is this
we
your
just-
analysis too, Caedrel? We fight for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, I've seen games where you're just diving mid tier 2 or top tier 2s when you have Baron, when you can just play it slow. But yeah, I see a lot of
Yeah.
dives that are just quite unnecessary, or dives maybe that are overforced. But I understand sometimes when you're in a game like an enemy team is making one play on one side of the map, you really feel like you have to do something on the other. And holding yourself back from just forcing on that side of the map when you know you have to make a play is very difficult sometimes, especially when you're under pressure. So do you guys think you've had enough time? It's only been, I mean, you've been scrimming, but is this, from the experience from the outside, it looked traumatic as hell. And it's been like, what, 1.5, 2 weeks before you're already back on stage going. You're confident that it's enough time, you're good to go?
I am.
Yeah, I mean, we finished the scrims yesterday. It was a pretty good result. And I said to the boys, guys, if we are playing like this and we just don't troll, it sounds dumb, but if we just don't troll, there's no team that can beat us. And I'm being frank, like it's just us losing the games, and we need to make sure that whenever we are on stage, we are calm, we do the breathing that we need to do, and we make sure that we have everything in mind, so there is no unexpected stuff, let's say.
I'm sure you guys saw like fan backlash. Is there anything you both want to say to fans in general? Because there's a lot of opinions flying around. There's a lot of like thoughts flying around. Maybe people have lost hope, but as much as it's very difficult to instill that hope without results, the confidence is there, it feels like. Is there anything you want to say to them? And we'll start with Nightshare, to the fans directly, about like why they should just keep believing.
I mean, the important thing that they need to hear is, right, what we can kind of reveal in very general manner. I think the team, even after this loss, what we've been working the entire year on in early game, then in mid game, we still have it. We still do it. We are keeping that up. And after the loss, you know, like, it's like, as Pablo said, like, give some of our early games, or like pause the game at 12 minutes, give it to Genji or give it to like LCK team. The games are ending at 20 minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
And then it's like the biggest stomp ever. Like, it's not even close. So we're keeping up, and that loss kind of exposed the weakness of late game. And we're working on this, and it's like very easily, you know, like you can see it very easily that that's the last thing that we need to kind of fix in this season finals, and that we should be like a complete team kind of, and then it's up to us to perform on the day kind of. So that's where we are, and that's what I want for the fans to know.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that I've been watching esports for many years, and I've never seen Fnatic dominating G2 this way. So I understand that the fans are frustrated, but kind of what Thomas said, like we need to be a complete team. And in that phase of the game, we didn't like really put any emphasis, or we had no idea how to close out games, to be honest. So this is a very good learning. Every time that we face G2 on stage is a great learning, and we always get better and better because of this. So I think we can expect a win in the season finals for sure.
Okay, I like it. Pete, is there any final questions that you had?
One last note, like just to the fans, like there was a lot of very negative comments, I would say. It's always the same after every loss like this, and this was probably the best opportunity for us for a really long time to win a trophy in LEC. So I understand the frustration, but the fact of the matter is we did make finals once again, and we did challenge G2 to a certain extent. Yeah, I'm confident from what I've been seeing behind the scenes that we can fix those late game issues and take it all the way this time.
A lot of people just see the outside and they don't really get to see or hear what's going on inside. So thank you guys so much for your time. Best of luck this weekend, and hopefully everything turns around and the ship starts sailing.
It will, don't worry.
Thanks, Caedrel.